everyone who decided to attend today. My name is Gil, and today I'm going to be refuting Brandon Helper's speech that he gave couple weeks ago. And his main claim was that the Iranian nuclear deal fails to prohibit Iran from obtaining nuclear weapons that could be used to support terror organizations, and I'm here to refute that. And through his 3 supporting claims, I picked out a couple that I found a lot of evidence against. And he said that the agreement failed to provide adequate oversight over Iran. However, and he also stated in his supporting claims that facilities cannot be inspected at will within a 24-day notice before any inspection. And what I found was that it's actually under 24/7 constant surveillance, and that 24 days number is like if say another country that's part of this Iranian nuclear deal wants to come look through, well they can't come, but if they want to send someone to go review it, they have 7 days to file that process, and then if they do it through the first day, then that 24 days gets knocked back to 21. So the 24 days is just if it takes the longest amount of time to actually do that process. Also, he said that we don't have any guaranteed of military sites, and that the U.S. can't send their own representatives, which I thought is a good idea for us, because if it were flipped the other way around, would we want Iranian people coming to inspect our top secret military facilities and our sites? So I thought that would just create more controversy if we went and invaded their territory and looked at their nuclear sites when there is already 24/7 inspection on them. And they also have their, when the deal was made, they gave up all their information about the nuclear materials. And also, you can't really hide nuclear materials in 24 days, since it does have a half-life of 10,000 years. So you really can't hide stuff like that. And then my second claim was that the Iranian deal would help actually combat terrorist organizations like ISIS, because Iran is ready to put down 40 to 60,000 ground troops to eliminate ISIS over the next 3 years. And I also found it interesting that the main claim he proposed was that Iran was going to support terror organizations, but he fails to mention any terrorist organization in his sources and in his main claim. Also, the deal would be beneficial with Iran to promote peace, because once we put this deal in place, we could actually negotiate with Iran instead of being so hostile between the two nations. And they actually, according to one of my sources, it was, I want to say this from the CIA, someone had a CIA source with them saying that Iran has already provided more support in the fight against ISIS than any of America's actual allies. And my third main supporting claim is that the sanctions lasting longer than a decade would provide sufficient safety for both parties. And he was saying that even though Iran is going to have restrictions from the next 10 to 15 years, that they would still be able to supply the terrorist organizations with frozen assets that they were able to get back from this deal. However, multiple sources have said that they're actually going to use that to benefit their own economy instead of supporting the terrorist organizations. And also, it would last, Iran's uranium would be around 3% after this deal, which weapons-ready uranium levels would be at 90%. So even after these 15 years, Iran would still have a lot of time, however, to regain that weapon-ready material. So in conclusion, I would like to state that the Iranian nuclear deal will minimize Iran's quest to obtain nuclear weapons and combat terrorist organizations.
All right, well, you started off identifying the main proposition pretty clearly. The secondary claims you only generally refer to, so we don't get an inventory of what the advocate talked about. You picked three things to respond to. I'm not sure if they're the same three things that the advocate talked about. Sometimes you provided a explanation, sometimes you didn't. On the first one concerning oversight, you say that there's actually 24/7 surveillance on these sites, and I'm waiting for a source and I don't get one. I think that that's a little bit problematic. And then you say it's the review period that's really the 7 to 24 days, because you have to ask for a review in that particular context. And I assume that's someplace in the document, but it's not really cited, and there's no authority that is presented that's given this interpretation. So although your argument here seems to apply, it needs a little bit better research on it. On your argument concerning access to the military bases, you basically come back with a value claim about what would be fair or whether or not we'd like that. I don't think that that's really relevant to this particular point, and I don't know that it addresses the argument that the advocate's making on this. And the claim that it would be impossible to hide this because it's a radioactive half-life of 10,000 years, whatever, that's a complete assertion that you can't move it or keep it out of people's sites or put it in a different location, or the idea that you can't keep it secret seems to me to be counterintuitive, since the United States did it originally and the Soviets did it. If there's new technology that would prevent that from ever happening, you need to tell us about that. The argument that Iran is not really a threat when it comes to giving this material to ISIS, I do think that you have a pretty good argument here saying that they're willing to commit troops to fighting against ISIS. And you did have one piece of information that suggested that Iran's already done more to support us against ISIS, although it's a vague CIA reference. It sounds like it's a third-party reference on that. I like that idea. By the way, I think you need a source citation on the idea that Iran's willing to commit troops to a fight against ISIS. You do challenge the argument that the advocate didn't cite what terror groups Iran was potentially going to be affiliated with. I know of several. I don't remember if the advocate talked about them or not. I think you might want to make a stronger argument on this. Maybe you've got a good argument on ISIS, but there are other groups in the area that maybe would be a little bit problematic. And then the question about the safety for long-term, the sanctions for long-term, and you basically have some data here that says that the uranium is only going to be at 3%. It needs to be 90% plus for it to be weapons grade, and that's all asserted. It's probably factual data, but I think you need a source on that. And the notion that it's going to take them a long time to be able to do that, that is asserted. So I think you need a little bit more information on that point. All right, thank you.